Welcome to this quick demonstration of the multi-column feature of FormMaker, and we'll start off by just creating a new form and give it a name. And notice we're going to use the default grid format, and multi-columns is only really relevant to the grid format. So we'll go into that. It's created our form for us, so we go into design mode, and there we are. Now a form is made up of multiple pages, so we can add as many pages as we like. But each page has only got one section area, which is this area in the middle, and that's where we define the number of columns that the page has. So one page is the same as one section. And we'll start off by just adding a little choice field, and we've got a question with two answers, and we can change the labels here, and we'll add another answer there. So here we've got a lot of wasted space over the right hand side. So to make it look a little bit nicer, what I can do is I can change it to let's say 3 columns, and now it's spread it in 3 columns across the page. And as you can see, we've got the question at the top and then 3 answers. So if I now want to add a label field, there we go, there's our label. It's fitted into column 1 here after the last field that was entered, which is answer 3 here. So it's in the first column. If we add another label, it's going to put it in the second column. If we add another label, it'll be in the third column, which is fine, and that's good. But if I want a label to be on its own, or any other field for that matter to be on its own on a line, what I can do is I can move the other labels out of the way, or other fields out of the way, by using the line break field, and that will force a line between this field and the preceding field. So now you can see those 2 labels have moved over, and this label is now on its own. And it'd be nice in some situations to have that label in the middle of the form. So what I can do is I can switch the span columns field to yes, and it'll then span over all 3 columns. And that's quite a nice feature. If I add something like a segmented control, it's over there, it's a little bit small, a little bit fixed into a small space. So what I can do is I can move it onto its own line by using the line break field, and span it across the columns using the span columns field. So there we are, it's moved on to the next line, and it's spanning the whole of the form. And I can go into it and change its settings if I like. If I put a line break of 2, it'll put another break, another line between this field and the preceding field. And I can go into that one again, and I can actually hide its own particular label so that it doesn't have a label of its own. And I can do things like that. And now if I go back to using multiple columns, so if I add another choice field after the existing choice field, you can see that this new field is just filling up the columns, as you would expect. The reason why, by the way, that this one breaks after this one, so this answer doesn't come directly after that question, is because by default there's a line break on the first answer to a multiple choice question. But I could actually remove that if I wanted to, and I could say, well, no, don't bother putting a line break, and it would then just put it after the question. But it's often nicer to have that line break in there. Now, one of the good things about this is if we go into portrait, it will automatically adjust the columns and the spacing as well as it can. Now, some things it'll do better than others. This one doesn't look particularly good, so I can actually go in and I can change some of the settings. So the text area I'll put in the middle and I'll make it long and put it on the right. How about that? That work? No, that's the text area. What I actually wanted to do was the tick alignment, and I wanted to put that on the right. That's better. That's what I wanted to do, and I could do that for all of them. tick alignment on the right. There we are. Tick alignment on the right. There we go. So that looks a little bit nicer in portrait mode, and it also looks okay in landscape mode as well. So I can play around with it, make sure it looks good in both portrait and landscape. And that's about all there is to it, so I'll leave it at that.